In the small town of Maplewood, where everyone knew each other's names and secrets were rare, Lara found comfort in her friendship with Jess. They spent countless afternoons at the park, sipping coffee while their children played. Jess, a single mother to a spirited 5-year-old named Max, had always been a beacon of support for Lara, especially as she navigated her increasingly distant relationship with her husband, Evan. The once passionate couple now drifted like ships in the night, their conversations reduced to brief exchanges about bills and household chores. As the sun set on one particularly warm evening, Jess confided in Lara about her struggles as a single mother. She expressed feelings of inadequacy, lamenting how hard it was to balance work and parenting. Lara listened intently, her heart aching for her friend. In the back of her mind, however, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with Evan. He had been spending more time at work and had grown evasive when Lara asked about his day. Unbeknownst to her, this growing distance was not just emotional, it was physical, with Evan seeking solace in Jess's company. Days turned into weeks, and Lara's concerns deepened. Evan's late nights became more frequent, and his phone was now a fortress, always locked, always out of sight. Lara tried to dismiss her unease, convincing herself that the stress of work had simply taken a toll on him. But the laughter that echoed through Jess's home felt different, and every shared moment between Evan and Jess left a bitter taste in her mouth. She often caught them exchanging glances that lingered just a moment too long. One rainy afternoon, Lara picked Max up from a playdate at Jess's house. The atmosphere felt charged, and as Lara looked at Jess, she noticed a flicker of anxiety in her friend's eyes. Was it guilt? The question nagged at her, but she brushed it off. After all, they were friends, and she trusted Jess implicitly. However, trust, like glass, can shatter, and the seeds of doubt began to germinate in Lara's mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that her perfect little world was beginning to crack at the seams. One evening, driven by an instinct she couldn't explain, Lara decided to take a different route home. As she drove past a dimly lit cafe, her heart dropped. There, through the window, sat Evan and Jess, their heads close together, laughter spilling from their lips. It felt surreal, like a scene from a movie. The moment was seared into her memory, a cruel twist of fate that left her breathless. Rage bubbled up within her, but it was quickly replaced by a wave of confusion. Should she confront them? Demand answers right then and there? Instead, Lara found herself paralyzed, staring at the couple she thought she knew. Their intimacy felt like a betrayal, and the ache of impending heartbreak settled heavily in her chest. She drove home in a daze, her mind racing with possibilities, images of what she had seen replaying like a haunting melody. What she didn't know was that Jess was already pregnant, a fact that would change everything. A week passed, each day feeling longer than the last. Lara tried to act normal, but her heart felt heavy. Every interaction with Evan was fraught with tension, as if they were two actors on a stage playing roles that no longer fit. Finally, the truth began to unravel on a cool autumn evening when Jess called Lara, her voice shaky and fragile. "Can we talk?" she asked, and the weight of the request sent a chill down Lara's spine. They met at their usual cafe, the air thick with unspoken words. Jess sat across from Lara, her hands trembling as she broke the news. She was pregnant, and Evan was the father. The world around Lara faded, the bustling cafe reduced to a mere backdrop of her devastation. Betrayal coursed through her veins, yet she couldn't bring herself to lash out. Instead, she sat in stunned silence, grappling with the overwhelming emotions swirling inside her. Jess's tears fell silently, and in that moment, Lara realized that this was more than a betrayal. It was the beginning of a complex journey that would redefine their lives. In the wake of Jess's revelation, Lara felt as if the ground had shifted beneath her feet. She returned home to Evan, who was unsuspecting of the storm brewing inside her. As they sat together in silence, Lara made a decision that would alter the course of their lives forever. Instead of confrontation, she proposed an unorthodox solution. They should face the challenges together. The words hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Could they really navigate this new reality as a unit? Evan's initial reaction was one of disbelief, his brow furrowed in confusion. But as Lara explained her vision of co-parenting, something shifted in the air. She spoke of collaboration, shared responsibilities, and forging a new type of family. It was radical, but amidst the chaos, a flicker of hope ignited in her heart. Jess listened quietly, her eyes wide with shock and a glimmer of relief. What started as a betrayal could perhaps be transformed into something beautiful. Yet, the road ahead was fraught with challenges that neither of them could foresee. With their unconventional arrangement set in motion, Lara, Evan, and Jess found themselves navigating uncharted waters. They began meeting regularly to discuss the logistics of co-parenting, establishing boundaries, and exploring their feelings. At first, it felt like a fragile truce, the air thick with tension and lingering resentment. Lara often caught herself glancing at Evan, searching for traces of the love they once shared. But the reality was stark. Their relationship had irrevocably changed. As the weeks passed, however, something remarkable began to happen. They started to share laughter amidst the pain, bonding over parenting advice, and even decorating the nursery together. It was a peculiar dance, blending laughter and tears, but each encounter chipped away at the walls they had built around themselves. Jess, too, began to blossom under the weight of their new dynamics. It was as if the pregnancy had ignited a fire within her, fostering a fierce determination to create a nurturing environment for her child. Despite their newfound camaraderie, the reality of co-parenting soon proved to be more complicated than any of them had anticipated. The first major challenge arose when Evan's work schedule clashed with Jess's doctor's appointments. Lara found herself caught in the middle, trying to mediate the growing frustration between them. Jess felt abandoned, while Evan was overwhelmed, struggling to juggle his responsibilities as a husband, father, and friend. One evening, as they all gathered to discuss their plans, tensions flared. Jess expressed her frustration with Evan's unpredictability, while Lara tried to maintain a sense of calm. Emotions ran high, and for a moment, it seemed their arrangement was on the brink of collapse. Just as Lara feared they would revert to anger and blame, she took a deep breath and suggested a family calendar. The idea resonated, and they began to lay out their commitments, creating a framework that would allow for flexibility and understanding. As they adjusted to the challenges of co-parenting, Lara, Evan, and Jess found themselves forging a fragile alliance. The calendar became a symbol of their commitment, filled with appointments, events, and milestones that tied their lives together. Each shared moment, from prenatal classes to late-night cravings, strengthened their bond, slowly transforming their initial animosity into a burgeoning friendship. One Saturday afternoon, they decided to visit a local farmer's market together. As they wandered through stalls filled with fresh produce and handmade crafts, laughter bubbled up between them. They debated over which vegetables to buy for a dinner they would share that evening. The experience was oddly comforting, as they started to feel like a family unit, albeit an unconventional one. Lara's heart swelled with hope, and she began to envision a future where their child could thrive in an environment rich with love and acceptance. However, the undercurrents of their situation remained, and emotions often spilled over in unexpected ways. As Jess's pregnancy progressed, Lara found herself grappling with her own feelings of jealousy and loss. The reality of Evan becoming a father to another child weighed heavily on her heart. Late-night conversations turned into discussions about the future, with Lara's fears often surfacing like unwanted weeds in a garden. One evening, while cleaning up after dinner, Lara confronted Evan about his role in this new family dynamic. "Do you think you can really balance this?" she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Evan, caught off guard, paused before responding. It was in that moment of vulnerability that they both realized the depth of their feelings. Anger, sadness, and even hope coexisted within them. This new relationship would require more than just shared responsibilities. It demanded honesty and emotional transparency. As the months rolled on, Jess's pregnancy reached its climax, and their co-parenting arrangement began to shift. Lara found herself stepping into a maternal role, helping Jess with preparations for the baby's arrival. It was a surreal experience, watching Jess's belly grow while grappling with her own emotions. Their shared moments became filled with warmth and laughter, yet Lara often felt like a ghost in her own life, struggling to redefine her identity as Evan's wife. The baby shower marked a significant milestone in their journey, symbolizing both hope and anxiety. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the impending arrival, and for a moment, it felt like a traditional family gathering. However, underneath the surface, tensions simmered as guests whispered and exchanged curious glances. Lara smiled through the discomfort, acutely aware of how unconventional their situation appeared. Yet, amidst the chaos, she saw glimmers of the family they could become, igniting a spark of determination to make it work. The day Jess went into labor was filled with a mixture of excitement and dread. Lara rushed to the hospital, her heart racing as she navigated the labyrinth of emotions. Evan arrived just moments after her, and they exchanged a glance that spoke volumes. They were in this together, yet the air was thick with uncertainty. As they waited in the sterile room, the enormity of the situation hit Lara like a tidal wave. They were about to welcome a new life into their unconventional family, but the past still loomed large. Hours later, the sounds of a newborn's cries filled the air, and with it came a rush of overwhelming emotions. Jess held her baby boy, Max's eyes sparkling with life, and Lara felt a profound sense of connection. It was as if all the tension and heartache melted away in that moment. Evan stepped closer to Jess, his expression a mix of pride and vulnerability, and for the first time, Lara saw the possibility of healing. This child had the potential to bridge the gaps between them, creating a family in ways they had never envisioned. With the arrival of the baby, their lives entered a new chapter filled with complexities. Co-parenting became a delicate balance, as Lara and Evan navigated their roles alongside Jess. The initial excitement began to fade, revealing the intricacies of their relationships. Jess struggled with her new identity as a mother, while also grappling with her feelings for Evan. The affection they once shared morphed into a bond forged through necessity, yet there remained a lingering tension that hung in the air. One evening, as they sat together discussing the baby's schedule, Lara caught Evan looking at Jess with a tenderness that sent a pang of jealousy through her. She excused herself and stepped out onto the porch, taking deep breaths of the cool night air. It was in that moment of solitude that Lara confronted her feelings of inadequacy and fear. This new dynamic forced her to reevaluate her own desires and the reality of their relationship. What did she truly want? Could she continue to embrace this unconventional family? Or would her heart always linger in the shadows? Despite the challenges, Lara and Jess began to cultivate a genuine friendship, fueled by their shared experiences as mothers. They spent afternoons bonding over diaper changes and late-night feedings, discovering strength in their vulnerability. Jess often sought Lara's advice, and their laughter echoed through the house, signaling a shift from competition to collaboration. Yet, beneath the surface, an unspoken tension lingered, with Evan caught in the crossfire. One evening, while preparing dinner, Jess and Lara found themselves discussing their hopes and dreams. Jess expressed her fears of being a single mother, her vulnerability prompting Lara to share her own insecurities. It was a cathartic moment that forged a deeper understanding between them. They were both navigating the complexities of love and motherhood, each facing their own set of challenges. In that kitchen, the walls between them began to crumble, creating a sense of sisterhood that neither had anticipated. As their friendship grew, so did the challenges that arose from their shared history with Evan. One day, while sorting through old photographs, Lara stumbled upon images from happier times, memories of a life before betrayal and heartbreak. The memories stirred a mix of nostalgia and pain, compelling her to confront the reality of their situation. She realized that while they had forged a new path, the shadows of their past still haunted their interactions. Determined to confront these lingering feelings, Lara called Jess to meet for coffee. They sat across from each other, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Lara took a deep breath, her voice steady but emotional as she spoke of her fears and insecurities. Jess listened intently, her own heart aching for her friend. In that moment, they both understood that healing would require acknowledging the past, not just as individuals, but as a collective unit. Their journey was far from over, but together, they could begin to dismantle the emotional barriers that had divided them. One sunny afternoon, as they prepared for Max's first birthday, the tension in the air shifted. They had decided to host a joint celebration, and the event marked a turning point in their relationship. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the new life they had created together, and for the first time, Lara felt a sense of unity among them. The party was filled with laughter, games, and shared moments that reminded them of the love that had blossomed amidst the chaos. As the cake was cut, Lara watched Evan and Jess interact as co-parents. Their shared joy palpable, she felt a mix of emotions: happiness for their child's milestone, pride in her ability to embrace this new family, and a sense of longing for the love she once shared with Evan. It was a bittersweet realization, but amidst the complexities, she understood that love could take many forms. This was a celebration of resilience, of family in all its unconventional glory. After the birthday celebration, the atmosphere shifted once again. The festivities had provided a temporary escape, but now they faced the reality of their new family dynamic. Lara found herself reassessing the boundaries between them, unsure of where she fit in this evolving relationship. She wanted to be supportive, yet the lingering feelings of jealousy and heartbreak surfaced again, threatening to unravel the fragile progress they had made. In an effort to clarify their roles, Lara called a family meeting. As they gathered in the living room, she voiced her concerns about co-parenting and the emotional toll it had taken on her. Evan listened intently, and Jess offered her perspective as well. It was a raw and honest conversation, revealing the intricacies of their feelings. They acknowledged the need for open communication and agreed to establish clearer boundaries, fostering an environment where they could express their needs without fear of judgment. With their new boundaries in place, Lara began to embrace the changes that came with co-parenting. She learned to appreciate the little moments, the laughter shared during family outings, the quiet evenings spent watching movies, and the camaraderie that developed through late-night diaper changes. Jess became more than just a friend. She was a partner in this unconventional journey, and the bond they had cultivated began to feel like family. Yet, as the seasons changed, so did the dynamics of their relationship. Lara found herself increasingly drawn to Jess, admiring her strength as a mother and her resilience. The three of them often spent weekends together, creating memories that blurred the lines between friendship and family. Yet, as Lara grew closer to Jess, she also felt a pang of sadness for the love she had once shared with Evan, recognizing that their journey had irrevocably altered the course of her life. As they moved into the new year, the complexities of their relationship intensified. Jess's growing bond with Evan stirred something within Lara, a mix of pride for their connection and a sense of loss for what she had once had. It became increasingly clear that their unconventional family was evolving, and Lara found herself standing on the precipice of change. Would she embrace this new reality, or would she succumb to the shadows of her past? One evening, during a quiet moment after the baby had been put to bed, Lara confronted Evan about their future. They sat together on the couch, the weight of unspoken words filling the space between them. "What does this mean for us?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Evan's gaze met hers, filled with uncertainty and a glimmer of hope. "I think we can redefine our family," he replied. And in that moment, Lara realized that love could be expansive, capable of growing and shifting in ways she had never imagined. In the months that followed, the three of them navigated the complexities of their evolving family dynamic with renewed purpose. They learned to communicate openly, addressing their emotions with honesty and vulnerability. The bond between Lara and Jess deepened, forged through shared experiences as mothers, while Lara and Evan found new ways to support each other as co-parents. It was an unconventional family, yet it thrived on understanding, respect, and love. The barriers that once divided them crumbled, replaced by a sense of unity and shared purpose. They were no longer defined solely by their past mistakes. Looking at Jess and Evan, Lara realized that family could be redefined in ways that surpassed societal norms. They had created a tapestry woven with love, acceptance, and shared experiences. As they faced the future, she understood that their story was just beginning, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of new beginnings. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and love, Lara embraced the journey ahead, ready to face whatever challenges and joys awaited them as a family. Rate this story from 0 to 10 and drop your comments below about it.